Hey guys, it's Anastasia. Welcome back. Today I'm going to be talking about my top 5 favorite book standalones. So my last video I talked about my all-time favorite series, and I said how I had a little bit more favorite series than standalones, which is completely true because I think I had like 7 series there. I only have 5 here. All the books are going to be in no particular order. Like I said in the last video, I feel like these types of videos are really good for you guys to get to know me, because I feel like what someone's favorite books is says a lot about them. So I hopefully you guys could kind of get a greater understanding of who I am as a person by the books I read. So again, these books are in no particular order. It's just what I pull out first. So let's get into it. So the first book is Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. As I said in the last video, I'm a bit younger, so I just barely started reading YA just a couple of years ago, and Fangirl was one of the first ever contemporaries that I read, and I love it. I loved it. I really, like I said in the last book, Harry Potter kind of felt like home. This book also feels like home. This is like my comfort book. If I ever am having a bad day or I'm just having a bad week, I go to this book because it is just very comforting. I think it has a lot to do with the fact that it was one of my first, but I just love the story. It follows Kath, who just is moving into college, and she has social anxiety, and she's a huge fangirl, as the title suggests, and we kind of just follow her story when she meets Levi, and she has a really cool roommate, and it's just really cool. In the last series I mentioned how the Carry On series is my favorite, Simon Snow and Baz, and we kind of get to know about her obsession with it, and I guess I relate to Kath now. I was going to say Catherine. I relate to Kath a lot more now that I'm most obsessed with Simon Snow and Baz. So I'm going to read the last little paragraph here. It says, for Kath, the question is, can she do this? Can she make it without Ren holding her hand? Is she ready to start living her own life? And does she even want to move on if it means leaving Simon Snow behind? So Kath is a huge fan fiction writer. She writes big fan fiction, which is what Carry On is, and she's really popular for doing it. And she's a really good writer, but like I mentioned, she has social anxiety, so it's usually her, I think it's her twin sister, I don't exactly remember, but it's her twin sister that always were together. So she always felt comfortable because she was always with her sister, but now that she was going on to college and she's not gonna have a room with her and all that, it was really hard for her. And she meets Levi, who, if Elijah was my book boyfriend, Levi is my number 1 book boyfriend because he was my first book boyfriend. I love Levi. I think the relationship he and Kath have, the romance, the chemistry, I think it's all excellent, and this book just feels like a comfort book to me. I think it's really beautifully written too, and I just absolutely adore this novel. The next book I'm going to talk about is Looking for Alaska by John Green. I mentioned, I think 3 videos ago, I think I mentioned it in my summer recommendations, but Looking for Alaska is my all-time favorite John Green novel of them all. I think it is so good. It is just the writing, it is just, I have the entire last letter page thing memorized to my heart. I think it is so good, everything about it, the writing, the characters. Obviously it has its moments where I'm but for the most part it is just amazing. I absolutely adore this novel. It already has a Hulu original about it, and which is also extremely good. But I'm gonna read the back. Before, Miles Pudge Halter's whole existence has been one big non-event, and his obsession with famous last words has only made him crave the great perhaps even more. He heads off to that sometimes crazy, possibly unstable, and anything but boring world of Culver Creek boarding school, and his life becomes the opposite of safe. Because down the hall is Alaska Young, the gorgeous, clever, funny, sexy, self-destructed, screwed up, and utterly fascinating Alaska Young, who is an event unto herself. She pulls Pudge into her world, launches him to the great perhaps, and perhaps steal his heart. After, nothing is ever the same. So it follows before and after, and I'm not going to really get into it because you don't want to know anything about this novel before you get into it, and it is just amazing. Again, there are issues with it a little, but it's still my favorite. This book, it was also probably one of the first contemporaries that I've also read, which is why it also holds a special place in my heart. But the words of John Green really just stuck to me. This is really the type of series that I quote on the daily. I mean, I quote this book like crazy. And the amount of times I've used some of the quotes from this book on Instagram bios, captions, any type of bio is insane. So this definitely is one of my all-time favorites. The next book that is my all-time favorite is The Perks of Being a Wildflower. I don't really need to go much into this one because a lot of you guys already know what The Perks of Being a Wildflower is all about. This book is really special for me for really personal reasons, so I'm not going to get too much into it, but I really relate to the characters in this novel, and I mean also the kind of just whole young kind of like free vibes that it kind of has throughout the novel is also really good, and I relate to, but I'm not gonna get too into it because I do relate a lot to these characters on a really personal level, but it's a good book, you know, regardless, and it just holds a special place in my heart because it was one of the first ever books, if not the only book, that I've ever read and felt seen. The next book I'm gonna talk about is Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli. Yes. If you guys don't know what this book is about, where have you been? Seriously, have you seen the movie? Do you have what? So I'm again not gonna get too much into it. It follows Simon Spear, really any character whose first name is Simon. I just love 16-year-old and not so openly gay Simon Spear prefers to save his drama for the school musical, but when an email falls into the wrong hands, his secret is at risk of being thrust into the spotlight. Now Simon's actually being blackmailed, and if he doesn't play wingman for class clown Martin, his sexual identity will be everyone's business. Worse, the privacy of Blue, the pen name of the boy he's been emailing with, will be jeopardized. With some messy dynamics emerging from his once tight-knit group of friends and his email correspondence with Blue growing more flirtatious every day, Simon's junior year has suddenly gotten all kinds of complicated. Now, change-averse Simon has to find a way to step out of his comfort zone before he's pushed out, without alienating his friends, compromising himself, or fumbling a shot at happiness with the most confusing, adorable guy he's ever met. So, Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda is one of the first ever, if not the first ever, novel of LGBTQ representation that I've ever read. Again, kind of seeing a pattern, a lot of firsts in these books. They all just hold a special heart. And, I mean, this book and the movie, of course, the movie does have its problems, but I went to go see that with my friends. I was out at the time. I am bisexual, by the way. Bisexual, woo! But, I was out at the time when the movie came out, but I was with friends who weren't out, and I just remember the experience of watching that movie, and it was just really amazing, and it, like, just thinking about it makes me want to cry. It really, again, one of the first books that I've ever felt seen as an LGBTQ person in the community, and it just holds such a big special place in my heart. I think the writing, everything about it is done extremely well, and it's really, I don't want to say lighthearted, but Becky Albertalli is a great author. She makes amazing novels, and I love Simon Spear. I love him. I really do. Simon Snow, Simon Spear. I said in my last series how I was like, my last video, sorry, that I just say Simon Snow. Like, I'll put in captions, I love Simon Snow. I also put in captions, I love Simon Spear, which probably gets really confusing to a lot of people, but these two characters I just adore with my entire heart. And they just have such a special place in my heart. So, this book, I love you. The last and final book, well, I guess that's what last means, is If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. This book is probably top 1 favorite book of all time. It's a very dark academia type book, which is kind of the aesthetic that I like and go for, but it is, okay, I'm into theater. I love acting. I've mentioned that in prior videos. I would do theater at high school, and I haven't read a lot of books about people in theater and kind of the dynamics of people who are really dramatic about theater, like me, who's like, ugh, I love theater, theater is my life. It's obviously annoying and obnoxious to some people, but I haven't read a book with people like that, because I mean, in reality, a lot of theater people are like that. Not that there's anything bad. There's nothing bad with being passionate about something. I mean, that's exactly how I am too. So I'm poking fun at myself, which is all in good fun. But there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being so passionate about something. But this book really does follow these theater people who are really passionate. It's a mystery. It has LGBTQ. And I'm going to read the back. The back, amazing. So, on the day Oliver Marks is released from jail, the man who put him there is waiting at the door. Detective Colborne wants to know the truth, and after 10 years, Oliver is finally ready to tell it. 10 years ago, Oliver is one of the 7 young Shakespearean actors at Delature Classical Conservatory, a place of keen ambition and fierce competition. In this secluded world of firelight and leather-bound books, Oliver and his friends play the same roles on stage and off. Hero, villain, triumph, temperance, I don't know the other words. But in their 4th and final year, the balance of power begins to shift. Good nature, rivalries, I can't, again, sorry, rivalry, it's like I'm reading a book like out loud in English class and I just can't pronounce it, and then everyone's like, rivalries, and I'm like, okay, I'm sorry, and then I just skip the word. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Turn ugly. And on opening night, real violence invades the students' world of make-believe. Pause for dramatic effect. In the morning, the 4th years find themselves facing their very own tragedy and their greatest acting challenge yet, convincing the police, each other, and themselves that they're innocent. Book drop, amazing. The entire concept, the entire story, the characters, everything is so good, mind-blowing, delicious. You have to read it. It is so good. Again, it's one of the first books I've ever read that talks about theater kids, specifically Shakespeare theater kids, because I am, again, really into classics, especially Shakespeare, and so it's amazing. Again, look out for this book in my fall book recommendations, but I'm just going to recommend it to you now because I cannot wait till that long, but I'll recommend it again later in case you forget. But you might not really like this book if you're not really that big into Shakespeare, because there are a lot of Shakespearean references, but I think you could thoroughly enjoy it too. So yeah, this book is my all-time favorite book because it has everything. It's special, it's good, it's unique. Everything about this novel is just amazing, and I am married to this novel. So yeah. So those are all the books I have. Again, I don't really have a lot of favorite standalones, but these all hold a special place in my heart. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to, go hit the subscribe button to see more videos like these. I have a lot more planned out that I'm really excited to do, especially my fall book recommendation. I am so excited to do that. And make sure you hit the like button to tell me that you like it. Again, I'm new to BookTube, so I apologize if that's quite obvious, but I do enjoy making these videos. And comment down below if any of these books are your favorite. So make sure to subscribe to see when I upload again. And thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!